Hey guys, have you missed the boat in buying a house during this downturn? That's what we're talking about here today. Look, last year in 2022, when interest rates started to go up and buyers started pulling out of the market, I predicted that I thought the bottom would hit somewhere around November or December of 2022, and here's why. The reason that buyers were coming out of the market was not for any other reason other than simply a knee-jerk reaction to a quick rise in interest rates. When we buy a house, we all know, many of us have been there before, you don't start that buying process a week or two before you pull the trigger, right? You're typically looking for a house a year, sometimes 2 years before you actually end up buying the house. That's just how home buying works. And so what happened is everybody saw the interest rates spiking right around the beginning to middle of 2022. They continued through much of the year. But when that started, they were looking back on the house that they could have afforded a few months, a year earlier, and saw that it wasn't anywhere close to what they could afford in what was then today's dollars. What happened was they pulled out of the market. They didn't like what they saw, what their money got them anymore. But here's the problem. All of the underlying reasons why folks wanted to move, new baby, divorce, just got married, maybe downsizing, out of space, right, in their current homes, all of those underlying life circumstances still exist. And so this was simply a knee-jerk reaction to the rise in interest rates. But eventually, folks were going to come back into the market. Why? Because they had to get a new place for whatever reason. Maybe the job was transferring them. But in any event, they had to still buy a house here in Northern Virginia. And so I thought that sting of the rise in interest rates would probably begin wearing off after about 6 months. And so I predicted the bottom would be about November, December. Here's what's actually happened. Our interest rates peaked in October, right around 7.16% on average. And that was back in late October. I think it was October 24th, if I'm not mistaken. Since then, there has been a steady decline of sorts. We're hovering right now just over 6% on average. Now, I don't see that we're going back to 2%, 3% rates anytime soon, maybe not ever in our lifetimes. I don't think we're going to be settling in at 6%. I think probably the long-term interest rate in the future is probably going to be in the 4.5 to 5.5 range. But my point is that we're pretty close to that already. We're hovering just above 6. Ultimately, I think interest rates will wind up being around, between that 4.5 and 5.5% range over the long run. But we're not going to get there overnight, right? There's going to be upticks and downticks. But here's what's happening now. And this is why I say there's going to be a lot of folks come summertime of 2023 that are looking back and saying, crap, we missed the boat. Because what's happening is that sting is beginning to wear off. Folks are realizing that all the pain of wherever it is that they're living that's not working out for them, they're tired of paying rent, or they're tired of being cramped, or they're tired of having too much house. They're starting to come into the market now. What that's causing is prices are beginning to go up. So you're going to be stuck now with, we're not going back to the 2 or 3% interest rates. So you're now dealing with, this is the new normal of interest rates, and prices are going to begin going up. Anecdotally, guys, we're already seeing it. If you've been putting things off, stop. like you're going to, in a few months, mark my words, barring something cataclysmic, you're going to look back on this time, January, February, March of 2023, and think, crap, I wish we would have bought then. Waiting around, your interest rate's not going to change radically at this point, at least not for the good, and home values are going back up. So guys, if you've been on the fence, now's the time to act. Don't keep waiting. Now is the time to act. If you guys ever want to get a strategy in place to help with your home buying, to make sure that you're the one that wins and you're not putting in 7 and 8 offers before you finally land a house, reach out to us at the Valor Group. We'd love to assist. Thanks so much.